Welcome to Capital Outsider, a show about people and ideas outside the halls of power, exploring alternatives to conventional political wisdom.
Hello, I'm Bill McMillen. On my right is Eric Sundwall. On my left is John Mounteer. And we've got sort of a special discussion we're going to have tonight about the proposal by Eliot Spitzer to license illegal immigrants without establishing the proof that the federal government has suggested must be applied in all states. So Eric, some ideas on that.
Well, this is the hot topic in Albany right now. The legislature is meeting. The governor doesn't seem to have any approval ratings from the people in terms of polls or anything along those lines with this particular issue. The Rensselaer County clerk has decided not to issue these licenses should they become law. I'm just wondering if, do we really have a politically savvy governor in New York State anymore? Or, what is the big problem here with, this is a big issue. People are passionate about this. And for most part, people are against it.
Yeah. It goes beyond, his political astuteness. What scares me about it is the governor's seeming intention to become an emperor. He's made an executive order saying, which is trying to change the law without going through the legislative process.
But isn't that part of it, though? He won the prize. He's the governor now. He gets to do this type of stuff.
Well, he doesn't. We have laws in the state, and it's his job to enforce the laws. Now, having said that, my guess is that it really won't have much effect at all. The big arguments against it are it's going to let terrorists get in. In fact, I was at the Capitol the other day, and they had Tedesco and another state politician, I'm not sure, saying that the terrorists are going to vote. We're going to let terrorists vote, as if they really wanted to. I think that's a specious argument. Well, the other argument against it is, that it's going to somehow legalize immigration, in the state. Give these illegal immigrants some kind of a legal standing. Mm-hmm. My guess is that a lot of illegal immigrants won't sign up for this because I think it'll bring them into the light where they may not want to.
If anything, it allows the state to track these people now who would otherwise remain anonymous if given the choice and probably just take their chances driving.
Right. That's my...
Well, basically, his argument, and I don't think he's made a good case for it because he's thought that just all he had to do was issue a decree and it would become a fact then. But the main argument is that suddenly a whole bunch of people will have access to what has become a primary means of identification and the ability to obtain other documents. And
that's a testament to our bumbling bureaucracy.
Well, yes,
too, right?
it is. It's basically we've created the driver's license has become a substitute for the Social Security card, which in some respects Social Security people are a little bit reluctant to give their Social Security number, but they hand out their driver's license card. And you cash a check, and they write your driver's license number on the back of it. That becomes your identifier now that allows for identity. The entire procedure at motor vehicle has been inconsistent. My son lived in Arizona and Washington for a couple years after having been a driver in New York State. He came back, and he's trying to get a driver's license in New York State, and he needed 7 forms of identification. His Washington driver's license wasn't good enough. The fact that he was previously a New York driver wasn't good enough. He had his state employee ID, and he only had 6 pieces of identification, and they asked him if he had a Price Chopper card. Absolute insanity as to the process. Uh-huh. The governor wants to simplify it, if that's really his intention, although maybe his intention is to pander to an immigration group.
Are we seeing a xenophobic influence in the country of immigrants? I mean, I don't know about you fellows, but I'm pretty sure that most of my ancestors came from a country that wasn't North America.
Well, I think we are in fact seeing that. And as far as New York State is concerned, if he wants to do something that sort of relieves the pressure on the immigrant population, illegal or otherwise, in New York State, instead of opposing the federal mandate that may be in existence in 2009 with regard to uniform driver's licenses, he should be objecting to federal officials, immigration officials, profiling neighborhoods on Long Island and then having midnight raids like they had in Germany in the 40s and in Myanmar last week. This is the way to speak out for people's rights if he wants to do it, but I don't know what his motive is. It just doesn't seem like it's good politics, and it's not necessarily good policy, although I would generally favor it. But
yeah, I mean, the other thing is that what the proponents are saying that people are going to register for licenses en masse and get insurance that they don't have right now. I don't believe that either. That's why I believe really the effect will be minimal. The proponents' arguments are bogus, I think.
And the opponents' arguments
and the opponents are also
but the outrage by the people is
xenophobia, as you said.
It's tremendous, and it just seems to me that what do they do in Albany? They collect the $120 billion and then they just fight and bicker.
I don't know how
after
much
this.
of it is xenophobia and how much of it is people like myself who look at Spitzer as a dangerous person, who see his idea of governor as emperor as a dangerous thing. You know, I think it's a combination of those. One benefit from a libertarian point of view could be that government goes into gridlock. So nothing gets done.
It is almost the benefit anymore for a libertarian,
so
is gridlock.
Maybe that's good. Although I was really impressed. Some of his proposals to limit the number of layers of government, those type of things were really, I thought were great ideas.
You mean consolidating municipalities that are related to each other?
That's the talk we hear from every new governor that comes into play in New York State. We heard that from Pataki. For the most part, he did come through on a lot of those issues and promises in the first year, but it's almost like once they settle into the whole Albany routine, they
become part of the Albany routine.
The Albany part, and they protect their own and they keep their own. And the promise of change on day one just hasn't been happening with this guy. It's almost a no-win situation if you're a Democratic assembly person or senator, because if what's happening this week and Tedesco brings them to the mat and makes them come out to a vote, they're going to have to go on record with this particular issue. And that's when you're going to see the splinter. That's when you're going to see the walking away from the emperor, if you will. And it should be very interesting to see how and when things get done at that point.
But anybody that walks away from the emperor is going to have a visit in their home district from the emperor trying to go direct to the voters.
Or worse, they're going to take their goodies away, right? Because that's what Tedesco's facing right here in Schenectady in terms of this clinic. We were trying to save money, whereas that didn't seem to be an issue at all over the previous 6 months at this point.
I understand that we are out of time, that we have pursued this, beat this horse to death. And so thank you for listening to this Capital Outsider.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.